Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, transformative journey in consciousness with community of like-minded people from all over the world. My name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher, and transformation coach. In this live session, we blend the latest in scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. It is always an invitation to have a direct experience, to rewrite your story, and to emerge on the other side with a renewed sense of purpose and well being. Welcome to Raising Vibration, edition of Conscious Living Collective, something that we have been talking about over the past couple of sessions, and we're going deeper and deeper into that topic. But before I jump into the actual subject, I want to welcome all of you to Monday/Sunday evening session of Conscious Living Collective. I want to particularly extend my warm welcome to members of my Patreon program. Hello, Parvana. Hello, Anne. Anybody else from my Patreon program? They might join later. And also Anita from Melbourne. Good to have an Aussie with us. Quite frankly, I don't see as many Aussies during the sessions of Conscious Living Collective, even though time would suggest it is definitely within the right time zone because I am broadcasting from the Sunshine Coast, Australia. Gwendolyn, Butterfly Rain, Tosca, good to see you here. Let me just look at the icons on the screen. More familiar faces. Oh, Mark and C. Marge. Tosca, I already mentioned. Oh yeah, Monica is here with us. Good to see you here. Hey, wonderful. So, all right, back to the topic. Something that I've been thinking of and considering. Yet another angle approach to conscious living and how we think about our life. For those of you, by the way, who joined for the first time, there'll be the conversation part when you ask questions, me introduce the topic, and there'll be part when we meditate together, which is, I always consider the experiential, very important part of every single conscious living collective. Hello, Janice. And I think it is raising vibrations. It is a term that has been used, or I dare say abused, a lot these days. And I want to bring clarity to you and also to myself. What does it mean to broadcast, if you want to use the radio frequency, high vibration and receive the high vibrations? If you remember from our previous session of Conscious Living Collective, we consider consciousness as a spectrum. It's a very wide spectrum of experiences, very wide spectrum of vibrations and hence frequencies. And we are all invited to experience all of them, not just one part of the spectrum, but the wider the spectrum we experience, the more fulfilled, the more whole our life is. And that's why I want to add to the topic of our session, not only to raise your vibrations, but raise your vibrations with integrity and presence. And I want to explain what it means. It may be, for some, it may be in your mind, it may be understood that to raise your vibrations is to stay positive and feeling good at all times. And every time you feel a smidgen of something, well, not pleasant, you push it away, right? So classic example of pushing away difficult emotions. And I will mention in just a moment the topic of emotional or spiritual bypassing, which is related to that. So what I want to invite you to consider today is actually raising vibrations from the perspective of being more connected, more truthful, and more present with your actual experience regardless what at this. We are not trying to say, oh, this part of spectrum is bad. This part of spectrum is good. This part of spectrum of consciousness is such and such. All is consciousness, all is valid, and therefore our job is to learn how to redefine our relationship with everything that there is. Okay? So I want to redefine the process of raising your vibrations, and again, there will be an experiential part at the end of our session, or halfway through, quite frankly, as an honest process of alignment with what there is and not escape. And escape, I will, again, spiritual bypassing in just a moment. So true vibrational shift, which we all desire, does not happen by forcing positivity, kind of a Pollyanna approach, but by being radically present and living in integrity with ourselves. I really like this expression, being radically present and living in integrity with ourselves. And something that resonates at that level is Tara Brach and her radical acceptance and a radical compassion, radical acceptance being very much in line. What is to raise your vibrations? Raise your vibrations holding to your inner values and your integrity, which is very important. So I would like to ask you at this stage, what for you, if you tune in, if you check in with yourself just for a moment, what energetic state are you most familiar with lately? What is it for you? I'd be curious to know. And I want to start with myself. As you type in your answers in the comment section, I must say that my energetic state has been moving from kind of neutral to a lot of excitement. And on that note, I want to say, without trying to brag, I love my state coming into Conscious Living Collective. I have a knowing that me presenting those topics, inviting you, facilitating discussion between all of you about various topics within the realm of consciousness is something of great importance. And I receive that on the level of my body as a sense of excitement and fulfillment. So to explain how I feel right now and what Conscious Living Collective and facilitating Conscious Living Collective brings into my life, into my experience. Pamela, anxiety and worry about my teens. That's one of very important experience. I'm not a parent myself, so I can speak for myself, but is there a single parent that does not worry about the kids? My mom is 8 years old. She still refers to me as her little boy, and she worries about me, even though I consider myself a grown man. I think as a parent, it is absolutely natural to feel anxious about the well-being of your kids. So Pamela, I believe that you are very much in line with the human experience here, however unpleasant that may feel. Annie, end of uni school, so burnout. I understand that my partner just finished her second degree in counseling, and what she was going through at the end of her degree was truly drenching, rewarding, but drenching. So I'm with you, Annie. Butterfly Rain, I feel internally nervous a lot without reason. Is that meaning my vibration is off? Very good question. And I want to say it is okay to feel nervous, and that nervousness is a sign of something is happening. And something that comes to me right now, I want to share with you, whether it's valid for you or not, is that nervousness comes from a resistance of something. And I'm not sure if that's just general message or message for you. So nervousness is a sign that something is misaligned. I do not know what that is for you, but if you discover what that is, if you align in the spirit of introduction to our session, you might find that energies or vibration will rise, because things, rather than causing friction, they will align and energy will be released. That's at least my take on that. And deep focus alternating with mild overwhelm. Okay. Morgan, feeling capable but inherently stuck, unable to move. So this is a great example of what I called potential. In physics, there are terms describing energy. One is a potential energy, and one is a kinetic energy. Potential energy is the something that we possess. We also use colloquially this term. We have a potential, as in we have a potential energy. And kinetic energy is represented in our life as the energy of movement or energy of action. So Morgan already has a lot of potential. We all do. That seeks to be expressed. Again, raising your vibration is by expressing that potential in a creative way, right? That's the spectrum of consciousness. Consciousness yearns to be expressed, to lower the entropy, to increase the order. That's the creative expression. And if that creative energy, potential, is not being expressed in a form of, well, in this case, actions, you will have the sense of being stuck. And I've been there many times, by the way. To some extent, I'm going through motions of being stuck all the time. It is part of creative expression because we continuously willing, and our consciousness continuously wants to express itself. So yeah, that's not uncommon. And if you look at it, it's a sign, it's a positive sign that something is about to happen, and it's up to you to take the right actions. What they are, I do not know. You have to ask yourself. It is very likely they will be difficult. You will feel resistance from taking them because your ego personality or conditioned personality will resist the change, right? But these usually are the ways of raising your vibrations, to once again align yourself with your potential that is already within you. Janice, anxiety due to recent silicosis. I'm sorry to hear about that. Obviously, our body as an expression of consciousness on the physical level is something that is always close to our heart. And if we see any disease and the illness within our body, this is a naturally we will feel anxiety related to that. But Janice, I really hope that the issue will resolve. I do not know, I have to admit, what silicosis is and what does it entail, but I truly hope it's nothing that you can get over, nothing that cannot be healed. Anita, feeling stuck, procrastinating, and lacking motivation, but beginning to take small actions to stimulate a high frequency of energy since doing morning journal writing, affirmations, and live IT meditations like this one. And this is a wonderful way, maybe something that Morgan can join in. Morning journaling. There are many people, their entire life lives on Insight Timer that are devoted to morning journaling, because morning journaling or journaling in general is a way of creative expressing yourself. All that bottled up potential within you comes to the surface in some form or shape. It doesn't have to be poetry. It doesn't have to be a piece of art, a Nobel Prize winning or Pulitzer Prize piece of writing. It is your creative expression. And that's the important part, right? Dance as nobody is watching. Write as expression of true self, not to prove anything to anyone. Yeah, I'm glad, Butterfly. Sandy asks, is our chi a place of potential energy? Another great question. So now we bring in Chinese philosophy and Chinese understanding of energy and vibration on board. I believe chi as an energy is a metaphor that is used in Chinese philosophy to explain the very term, right? And that's why you can find there are many methods in Chinese philosophy described to align with your energy. Tai Chi, Qigong, so many modalities that are designed to align and raise your vibrations. Okay? I did not come up with any of these terms. These terms are present in our culture, in our society since forever. So I'm not trying to rediscover wheel here. I'm trying to invite you to see what does it mean for you personally and individually. Jenny's clarifies, I'm in diagnosis mild cognitive impairment. Janice, who doesn't have a mild cognitive impairment? I certainly raise my hand. If I look at my mind on a daily basis, even today, I would definitely say self-diagnose with some form of cognitive impairment as perceived by the modern medicine. Many people see me on Insight Timer, people that have day jobs and high positions and people who acquire a lot of wealth, and they look at me, what are you doing? What are you doing? Talking to people on Insight Timer, talking about wisdom, consciousness. Perhaps you should get a job as a lawyer or doctor and apply yourself, right? They would definitely diagnose me on a spectrum. And I'm so glad to be on a spectrum and have such mind the way I have and be impaired in that way. I am part of the spectrum of consciousness. My behavior, my actions, who I am, it's part of consciousness. If it wasn't, I would be talking to you right now. It would not exist. If something exists, it means it's valid and has its purpose as a creative expression. Doesn't matter what your mind judges to be. Even those behaviors that we really harshly judge. So yeah, thank you for that clarification, Janice. Anita, thank you. The idea of stagnation representing potential is a very helpful and empowering concept. Hope giving. Exactly. The hope is a state between having potential and implementing potential. You don't want to be hopeful as a continuous, be continually hopeful. You want to hope to put your potential into action. Potential energy into kinetic energy, if that makes sense. Yeah, Sandy. Sandy puts it one line that expresses all. People like to place us in a box or file instead of understanding. Yeah, we are, by governments, we are converted into data points. And those data points represent human beings and not any individual in not any individual in particular. Kate, seriously, who cares what people think, especially unaware people? Well, we are here to expand awareness and do it. Expand awareness equal to raise our vibrations with integrity and presence. So you right on the money. Morgan, where is the line of performing creative actions and living life through creative mindset? I think one, performing creative actions and creative mindset are very much connected. I think everybody has creative mindset, because when I hear the words creative mindset, I think about a innate property of our consciousness. The fact that you embody this, the body that you have, is a creative act. As a scientist, I look at all the processes that are happening within my body as we speak, and they are abundantly creative, I promise. I have in front of my eyes the map of all the metabolic cycles that are happening, just one level of biochemistry that happens within your body as we speak, whether you are diagnosed with mental condition or not, by the way. On that level, all the map of the biochemical processes that are happening within your body is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. I refer you to my course, 6 Pillars of Conscious Living. I talk about it a bit because it's so important to recognize that that what is already happening in this present moment is an incredibly creative, expressive process. But obviously, we do not pay attention to it. We take it for granted. So once again, coming back to what we hear after, it's not necessarily about redesigning your life, changing where you live, changing where you work, people you hang out with, but start observing what is already present in your life as a creative expression that has a potential for high vibrations. And the moment you do it, other pieces will start become apparent. And interesting part about these pieces is that very often when you notice them, you realize they have always been there at your disposal and they obvious. And the only thing that will be surprising to you is that they were already present there, they were so obvious and you didn't see them. It is like, I don't know, I was raised Christian, even though I no longer go to church or actively practice any kind of religion. I still remember some of those parables from Bible that try to fuse my circuits, not fuse my circuits, to create a short circuit and shake my brain. And one of those is I think Jesus was on the road to some place, and he was walking with two of his disciples, and these disciples, it was past his death, and the disciples could not recognize him. The eyes, in the Bible says, the eyes were closed. And he walks with them and he chats to them, and they also happy. They also sad because the master was passed away, and they can't recognize him. For him, he passed away, he's gone, so whoever's with them cannot be him. And now they get to the end of the road, and then Jesus leaves, and the eyes open, and they recognize that it was him, right? It was him all along. He was walking with them, chatting with them, but they couldn't recognize him. So this is very apt metaphor and parable to describe what we are doing here by raising our vibrations. We are not denying the reality as is. We're not denying that, who was Anita? Um, oh yeah, sorry. Pamela was worried about her teens. We are not trying to deny. Pamela, do not worry about your kids. Don't worry about them. We're not trying to say that. We're not trying to say to Janice that her diagnosed cognitive impairment is invalid. No, no, no. Forget about it. Just swipe it under the carpet. No, we try to recognize the validity of all these from a certain perspective and also the presence of so much more. It's not just like diagnosis, not just the anxiety about the teens. There's so much more at any given moment. And that, as a scientist, the level of physiology came to mind to me, and the map of the metabolic cycles that are happening within your body as an element of it. Whether you have a diagnosis, whether you worried, they think this creative expression is still happening. So we bringing the other levels to our awareness, we aligning with them and trying to approach them with integrity without trying to bypass or avoid any experiencing within the spectrum of consciousness, if that makes sense. And that's what raising vibrations is: to embody, include, and validate everything that is happening. Um, so vibration and consciousness connect through deeper understanding what the reality is. And one thing I want to share with you on the topic of those unpleasant experiences, I think something that everybody experiences is a physical pain. Okay? This is a very human experience, something that everybody experiences at some time and will experience, particularly as we age. And my experience of pain most of the time is very unpleasant. When I'm hurt, I'm debilitated, I cannot do things I want to do. It causes me suffering. But there was one occasion that changed my perspective on pain. And that was during a retreat quite a few years ago. And I was sitting, and I was actually, it was sitting during one of the classes. And the time came for meditation. And I was right after, I was inspired by reading Tara Brach Radical Acceptance. You see how everything's connected. And we were sitting for extended period of time, and I started experiencing lower back pain. And I knew it from my meditation practice. It's nothing new. And I adjust my posture and try to ignore it, okay, and shift my awareness somewhere else. But for some reason, in this one time, I decided to go into my pain. And what happened in that moment, I started experiencing pain without resistance and without judgment in that meditative state. And what occurred to me that is very difficult to describe is that the very pain that I experienced in that very moment from the perspective of open awareness and acceptance was not hurting me. I understand it doesn't make any sense, because if you feel pain, pain is there. So pain was there and I was experiencing it, but it didn't hurt me. Does it make sense at all? It's very, I cannot really describe this experience because you would have to experience yourself to truly understand what I mean. But I want to share with you on the topic of raising your vibrations and experiencing, this is a small example, obviously, and experiencing things as they are without resisting it too much. So, yeah, understanding. Understanding comes with experience. How are we doing with time? 31 minutes. Yeah, so this is the second part of the topic I want to mention, as I already promised, is the danger of bypassing. And that's where honesty comes very handy. Honesty as opposed to escapism. I think culturally, we want to escape our pain, escape all the unpleasant experiences and replacing them with something else. In my case, it can be food. Someone mentioned procrastination, doing other things as opposed to the thing that we meant to do. I think this is almost a cultural trait these days. We only want to experience the things that our mind considers as pleasant. And that ultimately only postpones the suffering. We are not in line with life when we only try to go from one spiritual high to another. And again, example from my personal meditation practice that some of you may have heard already. At the very beginning of it, well over 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago, when I started meditation, I was very excited, was very motivated, and I had a lot of experience that may be considered peak experiences. I was very much floating in the air. Back then, I was meditating lying down because my back wasn't great, and I had this experience of floating and being full of energy. And then the only thing I could think of between one practice and another was, how do I get from where I am to that elevated state? And as you can imagine, that caused me a lot of suffering and frustration, which in turn made my meditation practice deteriorate. I lost motivation. I lost the initial excitement, only to realize later on this is not what this is about. Meditation is not about being in an elevated state or connecting with the elevated state. It's connecting with the entire spectrum of consciousness and develop a friendly relationship with any experience, including unpleasant experiences like pain or feeling anxiety about your teens, or being okay with the diagnosis that's been given to you. So yeah, no emotional bypassing. Being not judgmental to anything that comes to us. And in the third part, before we jump into meditation, I want to mention integrity. Integrity as the path to raise your vibrations. If the definition of misalignment is where your experience is not in line with your core values, with who you are. Okay, that's where the misalignment happens. And again, I want to be very precise by saying those words. The misalignment is with your core values, not with your conditioned personality. Okay? These are not the same. Your inner values, or innate values, I would say, represent things like creativity. That is common to every single human being. Like need for love, need for belonging, recognizing that we are part of a bigger whole. These are your inner values, not the values that, oh, I don't have money, I need more money. I have iPhone 14, except of iPhone 16. These are not inner values. These are mind-created ego personality traits that contribute to our suffering. Right? They create resistance to the reality as is. One thing that will never change in your life, whether you 5 years old or 99 years old is your creative expression. The nature of that creative expression may change, but the fact that it's innate quality of your consciousness, that will never change. So you have to start recognizing what your inner values are and if what you do is in line with those inner values. And you will see that very often as a sense of excitement, as opposed to resistance that your mind throws at you. There are many things that your mind will oppose as a conditioned operating system based on many mistruths. I know mistruths is not a word. I don't know, it came to me, so I just said it. As we know that conditioned mind, the ego personality, not all the conditionings are supporting our well-being in a way that is positive. That's why we are here. We feel stuck. We do not know what is the creative expression of ourselves. Once you find that creative expression on that fundamental level, again, it doesn't have to be related to your career, it doesn't be related to even your family. It is something that you have and you always did. And if things are aligned with them, then you will always raise your vibrations, performing those actions or simply being within this potential. Okay? So I want to ask you, where in your life do you feel deeply aligned on that very note? Perhaps some of you could share what in your life, where in your life do you feel deeply aligned? Not think to yourself, but feel to yourself, and perhaps share with us. Yeah, Parvana says, I do wonder why the same guided meditation can feel so differently at different times, right? You connect with a different aspect of the consciousness spectrum. Very good point, Parvana. Kate says, greatest freedom I have is living my life authentically. It's so rewarding. But I will admit that I have always gone against the sheep. So uninspiring, the masses. Parvane, my creativity is flowing. Kate, in nature, in silence, in space. Okay, that's with alignment. I know, Parvane, that you're a wonderful artist, and that talent is aligned, is basically expression of your creative alignment with life itself. Where in your life do you feel deeply aligned? Well, I can speak for myself right here, right now. I can feel it, that that's where it's supposed to be. Not because I'm serving some higher purpose. No, I do not believe in that. I'm serving some higher purpose being given to me. I can feel it in this very moment, the present moment. It feels right. Will I be doing it for the rest of my life? I do not know, but in this very moment feels like we are connected. There's a sense of connection with the collective and with myself. There's a sense of alignment. You can hear in my voice that my vibrational state is quite high. Although when I say that, I can feel my ego right in the pit of my stomach. That's a good reminder. Don't get too cocky, right? Good to have those check-in points and the reflection points. However, this is a learning process for me, to recognizing what feels right in this very moment. Facilitating conscious living collective on Insight Timer. Wonderful. Okay. Sandy, when I lose myself in journaling. Again, getting into the zone with the creative flow. I'm translating the losing myself into something. That's being in the zone. Time and space disappear. That's only creative flow. Morgan, I tend to feel deeply aligned while in meditation, in a meditation state of painting. Again, creative flow, painting, music, journaling, writing. I'm a professional painter and I find it interesting that I can tap into that world so effortlessly, but still have an ability to move and grow through the next stages of my life. Thank you, Morgan, for sharing that, because I think this is so symptomatic that, again, a deeply aligned while in meditation state of painting. Why do you even call it meditation state of painting? Because your words indicate that you are in line with the higher vibrations of your creative expression. Or creative vibration expression invites higher vibration. You cannot create if you are not in higher vibrational state. Again, using the spectrum of vibrations to describe the level of consciousness that we're connecting with. And you are not the only one who feels that other aspects of life feel very challenging, right? And that's okay too. Let us be honest. Life is not easy. Living, surviving, making money, paying bills, taking care of the family, all those things are not easy things to do. And they are not always aligned with our creative expression. We all have different talents. Maybe for you, Morgan, your entire purpose is just to express yourself through your painting, and rest of the things would be, I think, in entrepreneurship, I've learned that if you are misaligned with certain parts of your business, it's actually much more effective and cost efficient to outsource them to somebody else who potentially enjoys it much more than you, and you focus only on that. So in your case would be focus on your painting and outsource some of the other aspects of your life to others. I don't know if that's if that's helpful at all. Maybe I'm just missing the mark here, but I thought I'm going to share with you in the humorous way, because I know we not always can outsource all the things we don't want to do to others. We have to tend to our chores as well. Pinar says, connecting with people. I'm with you, i.e. Conscious Living Collective. I'm just, Monica, I feel most aligned in core values in parenting my kids and undoing generations of trauma by doing things radically different with deep love, even at the worst moments. So again, Monica and where's Monica? Who was talking about the having anxiety related to the teens? You see, two approaches to the same topic with something in common. I really love that within our group. All right. Thank you, Monica, for sharing that. And when I'm drawing and painting, I feel whole and deeply focused. When I emerge is when I meet that sense of overwhelm. So again, the life that we created, the life of the material life, tends to be overwhelming. In the space of creativity, we are outside of the matter and time, things seems to flow much more effortlessly. Okay? A deep wisdom in that. Kate, Qigong, daily, nature photography. I just spent this morning by the beach, observing nature, observing beautiful sunrise. There's nothing more grounding than that. People very often upset me. Nature never does that. Nature always grounds me. It has that sense of this is the right thing. Nature never responds, never reacts, never gets upset with you. People, it's very difficult to anticipate, even predict human behavior. Mhm. Again, strong connection between high vibrations and intuition. Intuitive actions take us always to high vibrations. They come from a higher level of consciousness. Anita, when I lose sense of time doing things on my long list of projects, by which I'm often overwhelmed, so achieving and feeling proud of myself without need to anyone else approving or congratulations. Mm-hmm. Gwendolyn, Anita, thank you for putting my jumbled thoughts into words. Okay. Okay, so integrity as a path to raising your vibrations. When you feel aligned with who you are, if you do not compromise your inner values, you are much more likely to operate within the high vibrations. And again, I want to put it forward that vibrations, frequency is simply a metaphor to describe consciousness as is. What we are after ultimately is the first-hand experience. When you're in the flow, artistic flow, creative flow, through painting, through writing, through intuition, you do not check your device and say, oh, that's my vibration right now. It doesn't matter. Vibration, frequency is a metaphor that helps me communicate with you the truths that ultimately are within you and within your experience. And we know we only later our mind applies those terms to the things that already happened, the things that we experienced. So right now, in that very note, I want to invite you to meditate with me. And to see, today I will lead you through a process in which at first I will invite you to ground your experience in your body. I didn't mention that. We might talk about it during the next session, which will be part 2 of raising your vibrations. But from the scientific perspective, there's a lot happening that can be measured through scientific instruments that we can translate into vibrational state, physical vibrational state, which is number of cycles per second. I'll be talking about the brain waves and brain states and how to simulate them through technology as well, but mostly through your own creative expression. But for now, I just want to say that for this meditation, I prepared grounding into the body. And by doing that, we recognize that in this physical plane, our body and our senses is the number one expression of consciousness. If you didn't choose to express yourself in a material way, you would not choose your body as a main form of expression. You would not embody this organism. That's the reason why you have chosen this body, whether you agree with it or not. It's not a random process. Let's be honest. We are not. It's we haven't happened to be on this planet in this body randomly. There's not a chance there. There is a high degree of choice. Maybe a topic for another session. But if you are here, you have chosen this physical expression, and therefore we will ground in meditation into your body. And then, as you ground in the physicality of things, you also can add the extra level of understanding through sensing your energetic field. An energetic field, as I tried to explain during the last session, is much more connected with your frequency, with the vibration. And you can have definitely a sense of it. And I will invite you to that. And then I will mention the state of coherence. The one thing I forgot to mention is connecting the vibrations with the state of coherence. But if you listen to any of my sessions, I love using heart-centered breathing as a way of getting in alignment with your heart, and therefore raising your vibrations. Because raising your vibration is not simply moving from low to high, it's more about aligning something and then allowing the natural process of rising occur. I have to turn off these AI things because they really mess up my transmission here. But for those of you who know me, I think that the one I can invoke by the gesture is this one. Let's see what's going to happen. There we go. If they done intentionally, they're very good. Yeah, it's a lot of things can happen during live session of Conscious Living Collective. And then once we align ourselves even more, I will ask you to once again align and attune yourself in the inner vibrational state. But this is going to be essentially what it means. I will invite you to experience whatever it's happening and look at it from the perspective of the vibration and see for yourself what is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be. As Parvana tried to say, all of you will be listening to the same guidance. The same words will be coming through the power of internet, but your individual experience will be very different between one another. There'll be some commonalities, but experience will be as unique as you are. Okay, good. Good morning, Mona. All right. As I mentioned at the beginning of our session, today we are listening to Peter Helland and his planet Earth. I will play it to you right now. Let me switch to the meditation mode. By the way, Parvana, Gwendolyn, Kate, thank you so much for your generous donations. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it a lot. Okay. As you can see, my natural instinct or intuition before jumping into meditation is to stretch a bit, to take a deep breath, to stretch my lungs, to expand. And when I expand my lungs, stretch the muscles around my chest, I also experience the expansion of my mind. That's what I trained my body to do. Raising your vibrations always begins by acknowledging your physical body as a vessel of consciousness, physical expression of who you are. Even though we are more than the physical bodies, we are more than the physical matter reality. We want to acknowledge that this body is a big part of our current expression. And I want to invite you to Rest your feet on the floor. Put your hands in your lap. Sit upright in a way that is dignified, in the way that king or queen would sit on a throne looking at their favorite subjects, being proud of who they are, being proud of everything that is around them, their queenhood and kinghood, because regardless of the state of your body right now, you are wonderful. Ground yourself in the recognition that things are as they're supposed to be right now. You are safe, secure, and protected. You can feel at ease if you choose to. And if you still feel any tension that may get in the way of this process, simply take a deeper breath in through your nose and out through your mouth to release or soften any remaining tension. And as you're moving into relaxation and ease, begin sensing your energetic field. What state are you in? Do you find yourself heavy and overwhelmed, or light and expanded? It is very likely that you are somewhere in between these two opposing states. You are somewhere on the spectrum of consciousness, and wherever you are, know this state is valid. It is a part of who you are, and it is part of human experience. Feel into it in an intuitive way. If you find yourself thinking about your state, shift your awareness gently but firmly into experience itself, the feeling part. And now, add heart-centered breathing and see how this way of interacting with your breath helps you to raise your vibrations even more. Breathe in through your nose into your heart, and breathe out also through your nose, out of your heart, connecting deeper and deeper with each breath, with the current state. As you breathe in, invite fresh, vibrant energy, moving it from the top of your head into your heart. And as you exhale, move out stagnant, used up energy through your heart down through the bottom of your feet. Each breath aligning you more and more with your natural state, bringing you into a state of coherence with your body, mind, and spirit. Each breath becomes an opportunity to align yourself a little bit more. At some point, you may realize that you are ready to let go and simply rest in your vibrational intelligence of your body, mind, and spirit as you experience it right now. Expansive state of your being that is in tune with all the aspects of your life, both mental, physical, and spiritual. And now, take that energy, use this vibration to move back into your physical senses, into your body, connecting back to your vision, to your hearing, briefly touching upon senses of taste and smell, and embracing the sense of touch through the boundaries of your physical body, feeling the surface upon which you sit, feeling your hands and your feet resting, adding gentle movement, wiggling your toes, moving your fingers, slow and gentle tilt of your head to the left, stretching muscles in your neck, tilt of your head to the right, muscles on the other side of your neck, back to the center, and to finish with one last deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Thank you so much for meditating with me. It's always great to connect with the collective and deepen your experience, not only through the lens of my personality, but through the presence of yours. It's well over 100 of us connected here in this meditation. And it makes me feel even more excited, but now in a very grounded way. I feel very grounded and supported by your presence here. This is my current state. How do you feel? What is your experience right now? What is your relation with your current vibrational state, if you will? Using this as a metaphor again. So how do you feel right now? I'd be curious to know. Thank you, Sandy, for your donation. That's very kind of you. Pinar feels peaceful. By the way, when we say peaceful is a representation of the state of alignment. With the resistance, where there's a tension, peaceful will be the last thing that we feel. Parvana, stillness and relaxed. Wonderful. Hey, Dan. Good to see you here. Dan feels supported and grounded. By the way, Dan, thank you so much for meditating with me on a daily basis. Every morning I meditate, I can see many different faces, and Dan is one of the people I meditate with. So I just want to acknowledge you there. Thanks, Dan. Anne feels centered. Oh, Anita, I also donated about 15 minutes ago, but it hasn't registered here yet. Anita, thank you so much. I'm sure it will show up. Inside Timer is finicky about these things. I appreciate your donation. Definitely. Great to be with you, Dan, as well. Well, it seems that we all had a collective positive experience. So thank you so much for that. Jen is calm. Morgan, this is my first meditation through Insight Timer. How wonderful. And thank you for choosing Tomek Airlines. I don't know. It just the funny way came to me. Thank you for choosing experience with Tomek Airlines on Insight Timer. No, it's always good to be the first, and I hope that the experience of it was beneficial to you, Morgan. I over years I collected quite a few of those experiences where people report, "Oh, that's the first meditation I listened to on Insight Timer," and it I feel honored, really, and those rare occasions. They are not very frequent. Like over 10 years, it was. Well, the few dozens maybe, but it always feels some. I feel very special. So Morgan, thank you so much. Yeah, Heather, monkey mind more calm. I'm glad you put monkey momentarily into its place. I'm sure it's gonna jump from branch to branch soon enough, but if it's there for now, then yeah, that's great. Sandy, I felt liftoff. Yeah, thank you for helping me to welcoming Morgan into the community. Atina P's laughed. Oh, that's always a good sign. A sleeping cat just crawled into my lap, purring and head bumping me. Wanted to part of the vibe. Animals are much more attuned to the vibrations than humans. Let me assure you, we have so much to learn. I'm going to use Eckhart Tolle's saying, I met many meditation masters in my life, most of them cats. Something about it. I don't want to get into it at the end of the session, but I just want to mention that. Gabe, I was listening doing my morning yoga and smoothly flowed into the meditation on the mat. Perfect timing, as I will also move into my metal work today and continue creating flow. Oh, wonderful. Jewelry creation based on the icons there, on the emojis. Anita hooked up with my IV and felt the healing intensify. Supporting the IV with some mental work. I think it's a great idea. Okay, guys, I think this is one of the longest sessions I did. Hour and 11 minutes. Definitely time to wrap it up. Thank you so much. We will continue exploration of and raising our vibrations and connecting, aligning with who we are during the next session. That will most likely show up after I close this session. So feel free to sign up for this one. In the meantime, the entire library of my meditations there for you to connect. The best way, I always say, it's not only through morning or evening meditations, but doing the during the day check-ins, checking in with your vibrations, attune to your vibrations, get to know yourself better. This is ultimately the path of knowing yourself. The more often you do it, the better you get at it, and the more inspired and excited you become about it. Also, I have 6 Pillars of Conscious Living course that is very much in the vein of raising your vibrations through 6 fundamental aspects of your life. It's very practical, full of tools and techniques to help you raise your vibrations and connect more with the life and improve your well-being. Okay. So for now, I want to thank you once again for your participation and for your presence. I'm already getting ready to finish up with some music from Peter. I'm gonna start tuning in. Thank you, Peter, for allowing us to use your music here. I wish you all a pleasant day or restful night wherever you are. It was good to see you and meditating with you. I see you on Wednesday or Tuesday. Bye-bye.